What's up, Sushi Squad? We back again for some more Trove, and today is finally gonna be the day. As you can already see by the video length that this is just, oh god. We're gonna be doing a world tour of Team Pixel, my club world. So I guess we will talk about the newer area here, but we'll talk about that more at the end, because I kind of like, doing this in a chronological order where I can show any of you that are new to the channel, new to the series, where it all started, kind of thing, you know. And let me tell you, there is a lot to this club world. Like, this is literally like 5 years of not constant building, but of just playing this game and casually building myself, as well as other people building and stuff like that. Now, a few disclaimers I gotta give you guys is this is the reason why there was no video yesterday, is because I wanted to get this one out for you guys. And I mean, it's a bit lengthy, so I have to deal with rendering time, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly, I have been dealing with a lot of technical issues in real life. You guys might notice that my face cam is a lot darker than usual. That's because one of my lamps, like the button on it, is just dead. So I did order another light, but apparently it's only going to ship in August because of all this quarantine garbage and things online just being out of stock. So I might just pick up like a cheapo dumb desk lamp or something just so I can get the proper lighting. That's why I'm in the top left corner rather than spending my time in the bottom corner with the green screen turned on, or, you know, turned off, whatever. Because I can't get a good lighting situation going on. Anyways, on top of that, lots and lots of other stuff going on behind the scenes that I'll hopefully be able to update you guys on at some point. Whoopsie daisy. So this takes us to fixtures and stuff in this area. This goes to the portal transit area. This takes us to other hub areas. So we'll kind of start where it all began. So this is the old hub. You can notice that it's a lot more colorful, used a lot more glowing blocks and stuff like that. But before we start with even that, we gotta go to the old hub. We gotta go to where it all began, right? So that's actually going to end up being right up here in Ewok Village 9000. That's what I used to call it. But before we get started with all that, I do got to plug it. If you guys are new to Trove, you can please use that sign up link that's down in the description. And then if you end up deciding to buy anything out of the cash shop, I will make a percentage of that sale. It's an awesome way you can support me by literally just playing the game and doing things that you would normally be doing anyways. Thank you all so much that have actually done that. Thanks Game Ago for giving me the opportunity. And thanks to any of you newbies that are just coming around and, while learning that, doing that for me as well. It really helps pay the bills. So I'm hoping that I got some good sound settings as well, just because I've been kind of messing and tweaking with my mic. I've been noticing it was clipping a lot more when I was yelling and stuff, so hopefully it is a good level right now. But anyways, you guys don't need to know any of that, because we better get started, because otherwise I'm gonna be here forever. So this is literally where the club world started. This was the original spawn. I don't think back in the day that you could change where the spawn of the world was in a club world. So originally I built a lot of things up here, and these are some of the first builds that I ever did. And it shows, because they look like crap. Like, sincerely. And then I slowly ended up building this bridge across all of these to coincide with the Stairway to Heaven. Which these were like King Andrew and It's the Noob, I think, were like the first people that I ever had in the club world, the first people that I kind of related with and played with in game, which obviously there's been hundreds and hundreds of other people that have come and went from since then. Down there, they were both actually building a castle, and that slowly ended up turning into the hub that you see before you just over the years, right? But we kind of won't spend 100% time like going in and checking out every single detail of all these places, because honestly a lot of these builds are pretty empty anyways. But up here I kind of turned this into the big portal hub. So if you guys are building a club world yourselves, the way that the portals work is basically they're color coded, and you will always teleport to the most recent portal. So if you put one down here, then one down here, and then a third one down here, this is kind of how we have our portal hub set up. The first time you go through the portal, you'll go to here, and then you take this one. Essentially, you would be trying to take it back to the hub, right? So that's where you would end up going back up to there. So if I go through this one, that goes to Bowser the Sky Whale, I take it again, and boop, we're right back here where we started in the center of the portal hub. This is something that you guys can end up doing that I actually ended up learning from a lot of the members that we had in Team Pixel 3, because back in the day there was a lot of overflow because of fans and because Trove just exploded. So I had Team Pixel 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I am currently only a member of Team Pixel the base, and then Team Pixel 5, just because with Team Pixel 5 I kind of use it for like some other stuff sometimes, but we don't need a world tour of any of that stuff, otherwise we'll be here all day. So anyways, we this hub has gone through so many iterations, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out, but you know, I'm more happy with the current club world that we have, you know, the current spawn and stuff like that, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But this place has layers, you know, ogres have layers, so this pagoda has layers. I really like this area, and lots of people even argue that they like this better than the new area just because it's so much more vibrant and colorful and has a lot more character to it, arguably. You know, logo and old portals and stuff like that. You go in the basement, here's where we had our shadow tower stuff, and I mean, there was so many different things that this developed into. We got so many secrets around. I don't think we'll be able to have time for all of them. And then over here, those of you that are new to Trove and know that you have the Atlas, this is actually how the old world used to work. So even in the Trove hub, there was basically this giant tower that would have all of the portals in a row as you would ascend higher and higher up the portal. So we got U8, U5, or U4, U5, U6, so on and so forth. This one, the tower that we got here, is actually a more fancier version of that build, and I'm actually still really happy with how this turned out. I just kind of low-key, like, you know, it's kind of useless now, but it went through so many iterations as well, just kind of getting more and more complicated the further we went, while still being very simplistic. That is kind of my goal with all of my builds. Not to say that I built this 100%, but I built maybe 90% of it, and then got some feedback from some of the other members that were in the club world and stuff like that. And it just ultimately, like, this hub world, you can see, is a lot more busy, so that's kind of the big reason why we moved away from it. I think Joe ended up building this, which is psychotic. I don't even know how he ended up doing something like that, because this is all glass blocks, which any of you builders know how difficult it is to deal with glass blocks, let alone doing this diagonal, getting rid of one block each. Like, it's like he would have had to platform up, and it just, like, look at this. It already gets confusing just looking at it from a perspective, or, you know, spectator point of view, let alone how you would actually build it. Like, geez. So this is the noob hut. This back in the day actually had a lot of really good tips just for starting players, because the game still doesn't really have much of a tutorial. Here was kind of the trophy area, so we had set up, like, sometimes I would do contests and stuff like that, or giveaways and junk. Obviously you can see it didn't get utilized that much, but you know, here and there we did like hide and seek in the club world and stuff like that sometimes. This, I will give you guys a photosensitivity warning, just because it is crazy. It is rainbow, and so I just, this is Joe again. He loves all the rainbow stuff, so it kind of just is a bit overbearing, if not very beautiful. And then this used to end up going back into the hub world area, into the hub building, but we ended up kind of destroying that. And there's just, yeah, sensory overload, right? But there's a lot of different things that you can end up doing in this area. It even kind of gives me a bit of a headache, so I'd recommend you stare like at where we're going rather than where we are. We'll kind of span out from this starting biome as well. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, but we will kind of, I don't know. This video is gonna be long. So over here, this is where we had a dedicated area to club worlds. So I kind of had like these are kind of the bigger club worlds where they were in theme with something that was inside the club world themselves. So, you know, like this is Google Translate, so we got a big G and so on and so forth, which are very, very big club worlds that arguably deserved to have a lot more shine to them. You can see the torches are all busted up because there's too much video effects in this area, so a lot of the torches and even projectiles of characters just doesn't work anymore. And then this was just kind of an extra area for even more club worlds. I did end up going through this within like a year or so. So some of these club worlds are still quite impressive and still worth visiting. I'd recommend, but I mean, they're not super duper crazy. We won't do the candy biome just yet because there is over here. This is a build that it took so long for me to do this. This is what I call Tiny Town. And at first it started over here just as a smaller project. And then I really wanted to expand it out and out and out and out and out. And it's like, it took so long to make it because there's just so many houses. I tried to make them all slightly different, though not super duper complex. We also used to dedicate houses to like fans and stuff like that. So you can see Ice Speeder got this one, Cat Gamer got that one, and so on and so forth. Lots of cool things that, I can't really do anymore, you know, just because of where the channel has gotten. Like, it just is too big of an undertaking for me to end up doing all of these little projects anymore, you know, so it just, I don't know. But this pool right here, this actually is a very, very old build by Mighty Joe that I think leads to his club world or something like that. And or at least it was his club world back in the day. I don't know, but I kind of built it or left it as like the centerpiece for Tiny Town. And then there was this area, which was just kind of an experimental pagoda that I just wanted to kind of set up as, I don't know, just kind of a relaxing shrine area. But you can see I really liked color coding doors and stuff like that. But most of all, I wanted to take on the project of doing an upgraded pagoda. So this was kind of a alternative hub area that me and I think Scythus and I ended up building this one a lot. But it ended up being way too overbearing and too good looking in a way. Like, it's way too busy for a hub area. Like, for me, I like function and fashion, you know? So this was kind of just us going crazy, build whatever we want type of thing. And it turned out really cool. The floor went through so many iterations though. It just, ridiculous. This is like our old graveyard. So this is like old players, I think. Yeah, Miguel, a good friend and officer of Team Pixel 3. He's not around anymore. Rip the boat hop. So the boat hop used to be a bug back in the day where you would literally jump and boat hop. It was something that I don't necessarily want to say that I discovered it, but I did discover it for myself and then popularized it in videos, and then it ended up gaining patched, unfortunately. But basically, while you would jump through the air, you would retain the speed of the boat that you had equipped. So you could essentially have like 150, 160 movement speed, depending on the boats that you were using. So it was a really, really good way that you could get around. And then this just kind of like the Candyland, I slowly over time started augmenting all of the biomes that were around the hub just because I wanted to have them a little bit bigger. And Candyland wasn't necessarily the next biome, but we're just kind of going in whatever order, just outstretching what, you know, I don't want to do it all in chronological order just because otherwise we'll be here all day, but I kind of just slowly turned it into a factory themed area. These houses, I was really impressed with this one. I think my buddy something King Lion ended up doing this house. And then if I do say so, I'm very good at replicating. So I kind of took the theme of that and ended up building like kind of a smaller village around that. And then you can see I kind of, you know, stopped being as interested with the project a little bit further out. And that kind of ends up happening with a lot of the builds in the area where as we span out, it starts getting less and less impressive. This I kind of took upon being kind of a runic area just because, I don't know, and then not to mention the industrial complex here, which the video effects of the air gust blocks used to actually look like smoke, but then they ended up nerfing that because it just, I don't know, it took too much video effects, right? And then over here, we got Comments Cove. So I used to do this. I don't do it anymore, unfortunately, but you can see we did it for quite a while, actually. Didn't end up filling up all these other areas. I always get too ambitious and then it just makes me burn myself out, if I do say so, with some of these projects. So these would basically be like comments that I would take from videos, and then I would answer them at the end of videos, which is something that is still pretty cool, but honestly speaking is kind of obliterated by the fact that I do live streams now, and we'll end up just responding to tons of questions from you guys there. And then we got Pirates Cove here. I think that's what we called this. This I like just because it kind of started out as a graphical glitch where there was just like this crater in here, and so we kind of fleshed it out with like these intertwining pathways, and it's kind of like a secret pirate trading area type of thing, you know, and it's got all these different areas that you can end up going through. I like having it all flow into one another so that you can kind of have multiple branching paths and junk, you know. You can see this castle, very, very old. I think my brother ended up building this with like a snake guy or something. Snake shot, yeah, that's it. Back when my brother used to play this game, and you know, we played the game very regularly, just kind of doing stuff with the community and everything when the community was a lot smaller. And that's something that I do miss, you know, about being a smaller channel, is just everything was a lot more personal than it is now, you know. Not to say that you know, I still struggle with trying to be very personal in these videos with you guys, but obviously there's a lot bigger of an audience. So that's where I will take this time to mention, whenever I'm playing like other games on the channel and you guys, you know, aren't as interested, obviously, but I still enjoy those videos. Like when I was doing Last of Us, for example, obviously there wasn't really that many people tuning into it, but I still really enjoyed it because it brings me back to a simpler time where there is a more dedicated fan base, even if smaller, that is getting involved with it. And I just really enjoy that aspect of YouTube. You know, it's like the views don't really matter as much to me as having that connection with you guys. So anyways, this was going to end up being, someone was building a giant rejuvenation station. A lot of the projects just in general, I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of abandoning projects as well, but I found like that's why in the newer hub area, the big reason why I wanted to take on that project of just having a more refined hub where most of the builds are just me and Merc, is just because I didn't like the idea that so many random projects would just get started by people and then get abandoned. Again, myself included, right? This, I really like this build. I always liked this giant airship. It's really, really cool. This one I think was... Who ended up building this? Did we not have a sign for this? I think this was Miguel or S-Tau or something. Oh god, I don't even remember who ended up building this. Oh my god. Welcome to the fortune. Yeah, it doesn't say who built it. Dang it. I don't fully remember, but this thing was like, I just ended up logging in one day and then this was just constructed in the sky and actually finished, and I was like, oh my god, that looks beautiful. So anyways, let's head on back over here away from Tiny Town. We'll go to the volcanic area in a bit, but over here we've kind of got, that is a very, very old build. I remember that one. Same with the TX. Like most of the time when people would build stuff, I'm pretty sure this is literally built by a guy. Yeah, TX Wrangler. So he literally just built his username. I don't know, he must have been a kid or something. This I kind of liked. I like the theme of that. We don't really have very good volcanic builds, so I like that. Over here I was experimenting with trying to create wheat fields, which I mean, it kind of worked, but not really, because I wanted a farming area and it just didn't really pan out. I am happy with how the windmill turned out though, except I would like to raise it a couple blocks, but and then we got back when Chronozilla was in the club, she ended up building like this gigantic Gonda statue, which is beautiful. And then somebody put like some stick figure on the top. I mean, that's the whole thing, you know, with having a club that didn't really take itself too seriously. Like we're not a try-hard club or anything. We don't have any requirements to end up joining the club. But it was a very big learning process to figure out just who could build, and then slowly dialing back, you know, who was available to build, and the amount of power that they ended up having in the club world and stuff. And back in the day, it was just kind of chaotic. You know, if people ended up griefing stuff, there was nothing we could do about it other than kick them and what have you. But anyways, moving on, we go over here. There's kind of this big ugly thing. And I mean, you know, the temple itself is all right. I think Biscuit ended up building this town, and this is I think we called it like Cat Town, and I really like this build. Like, I like these quaint things. There's actually a lot you can explore in here. Like, there's a big hotel and a basement, and there's all sorts of jokes throughout the area, which I just absolutely love, right? Like, even this super secret ninja jumping pad, you never saw this. Like, I just like stuff like that. Like, just where it's like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's just there for fun. Got a little theater here. You know, the wall is all fleshed out. This build, I forget who built this. I don't think I ever discovered who did, but I really liked this. Like, whoever ended up building this, I really liked the style of it. Somebody was building a tomb raiser. They didn't get to the head, so on and so forth. You know, it kind of does that. Like, that just kind of happens. Giant meatball. See, we did before PewDiePie did. I'm kidding, by the way. The airships, those were really cool. Oh, okay, that temple was all right. This is the abomination. This one, I hate this build. I mean, you know, it's there and I'm not gonna destroy it, but that again, another big reason why we moved on to creating a new hub area all to ourselves. That was just brand new and fleshed out. This was a racetrack back in the day. Unfortunately, placing down another biome destroyed it, or somebody else came through and destroyed it. I forget. This, I think this is Critter and Joe. Maybe it's just Critter, but this is just an abomination. It's like a flower field. It's all disgusting. Over here, I don't think there's anything of note. There is this pathway, which is kind of interesting, and a little bit, you know, disgusting looking pinata, which I love that thing. It looks so dumb. And then some of it is a little bit more fleshed out, but it's just another build that ended up getting abandoned. I forget if this was Zagul or something. I think their name started with a Z. I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, let me head on back over to this area. And unfortunately, this is kind of how it goes. Like, we'll have to go over here, and then we'll have to go back over there. I'll try to make cuts appropriately just when we're doing like all this travel time and repeating areas. But over here we have Pinata Park, so kind of like Jurassic Park, but with pinatas. Because the whole lore of the club itself, like, you guys can check out. There's a club world called Story Mode. Join world story mode. I forget if it's one word, but I ended up creating this club world that kind of gives the history and the story of what our lore was for Trove. Okay, this isn't it. Is it story mode with space in it? Oh god, I'm not a part of that club anymore. I have my alt controlling it in case I would ever need to get to it, but it was a pretty fun project to end up working on. Yeah, this must be it. Yeah, I think this is my secret area where I would go for like crafting and junk like that, but I don't even remember. But anyways, you guys can check that out if you want to see. Like, it's a big war about like the dragon Kigurumi, the pinatas, the evil chickens, so on and so forth, right? And then anyways, back to Jurassic Park, but with pinatas. Like, you can literally see, that looks hilarious. I love it. You can go inside him, and there's like, I think there's like a dude in there that's all like, help me or something. I don't know. We always had like these weird dark sense of humor going on. The yellow portals lead here as well, so kind of can end up exploring that. Over here we kind of got a shipyard, so people ended up building up some ships. You know, you sunk my battleship. We got a tennis court over there that is functional as far as I recall, and it's all just, you know, I like these builds. I like these boats and junk like that. Up here we've got the rainbow pyramids, so it's kind of like a big cloud city. I like the fact that the platform itself is all clear glass, and then the buildings up there are built out of the same glass, and it actually has a really neat effect. You can see the pyramid actually goes inverted because inside there, basically, if you want to have reflections in Trove, you have to put glass on the floor, and then you have to draw your build like verbatim but reversed and inverted, and then it's a neat way that you can end up making it look like it's a reflection. People do stuff like that in Minecraft all the time as well, but I don't really see it too often in Trove, so I really like those rainbow pyramids and the rainbow bridge and junk like that. Again, to the fact that a lot of these builds were unfinished, so I kind of went through a lot of the club world. Like this, I remember was, I don't even think the top of the boat was built. I think just some of it was, and I went through and meticulously like tried my best to emulate the original builder's style, and then just kind of slapped a band-aid on it, tried to get it finished just so that it wasn't a complete like destroyed project and junk, you know. And then we got this giant bridge that goes to like a giant, I don't know, lizard head. You can climb inside them and there's like secrets there and junk like that. Over there we have like a little bit of airships and junk, and we'll go to the neon biome as well. This was Architect Town, so this is where a lot of people got separated from like the men and the boys, right? Like this was my good friend of mine who doesn't play Trove anymore, but I still keep in contact with him, Valor Warrior, who ended up building these amazing modern houses. Like I can't do this. You know, like there's a very specific style that I have, but this was his first build and it really set him apart. Like, good God, 2015, like Jesus Christ. It really set him apart from all of the other architects at the time. So I kind of used that to see like, okay, he invested his time in making a build, so obviously he's serious about this, the amount of time that he put into it, so on and so forth. And we kind of used to use that as a way to gauge whether or not we would bring people up in rank and stuff. Ultimately, I think I left him in charge of Team Pixel 3, and then the leadership moved on to like Miguel or somebody else or something like that. But I mean, that was basically the big thing that impressed me about like his build and stuff, and it's just really, really cool. And we're, you know, still long-term friends now. He's like a freak that's into World of Warcraft now. But anyways, then we've got you know, another one of his builds, which very, very impressive modern builds. Over there we got a disgusting giant rocket that's not finished. A couple other there's a couple mini games right over there that is actually, some of them are pretty functional. Like that one is kind of like a 2D platform where you have your camera facing one way and you try to navigate up it with only like one jump, and it's, you know, fun stuff. But over here is Architect Town, as I was saying, and this was kind of the area where we just let the architects go nuts. This would be my ally if the devs would ever update the one that is already exists in the game. Whoopsie daisy. And yeah, some of these builds are pretty nice. Like I like this Flux Castle, you know, that little hot dog guy. I mean, obviously the houses are a little too close together just because people were just building for the sake of building. This build I really liked. This was library dedicated to Captain Napkin, so that was my brother. But who was the builder? It was oh god, I don't even remember her name, but sometimes she shows up in our Discord and stuff like that, and she ended up building this, and it was I remember it was in our build that really impressed me just because of the radiant style of it, type of thing. Let me see what else we got another island over there, but I don't think that is anything, is it? Oh, we got a cute little tugboat. And then other than that, yeah, I don't think there's anything over on that island. There might be some stuff, but for the most part, it's all pretty empty. So let me get to something more interesting. Okay, yeah, so up over here by the Candyland stuff, these you can see are PvP arenas, which we'll deal with those separately. Because otherwise over here we got a pretty impressive boat, actually. And then over here was kind of the first like Candyland build, I guess. Not to mention this really, really nice grotto and kind of temple. I forget who built this. Was this? Oh, Red She. Huh. That's actually a really impressive build. I like the minimalistic style of it. And then over here, somebody was building like a candy area. The building itself up here is kind of impressive. And then over here, unfortunately, this didn't really work out. Somebody was building... we let somebody build like a PvP arena, and it was pretty fun on the original version of the map. But unfortunately, it got like absolutely destroyed by placing down another biome. Back in the day, there wasn't really a way to tell how much would be destroyed by placing another biome down, and now it's kind of a little bit more uniform. But either way, we kind of tried to salvage it. It was interesting because it's kind of like a replication of the old hub, but set up for PvP. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like one of my builds or anything. That's why you can see it's a little bit chaotic. I don't know. And I think the same person ended up building this like PvP area, which it was okay. Like we got a couple matches out of it, but not really anything super duper impressive. And then over in the desert here, some of these builds I kind of like, some of them not so much. That's kind of neat. But over here we kind of got a desert town, and then oh god, there was like a secret event that we had here or something, I think, where we had something hidden in the water tap, and I think that we gave like a prize away for that or something. I don't fully remember. This is kind of neat. I really liked these bridges. This was kind of like I tried setting up like paths to go over here, because otherwise it was all just pretty empty and plain. Somebody ended up building a little tree fort. There's the floating island, and I really like floating island builds. That's why Cubed Reality is one of my favorite club worlds, just because visually it's just absolutely stunning. I should really have another video where we go through like other club worlds and stuff, because there is some seriously awesome stuff that I have favorited that I've always wanted to show you guys, and I think I did arguably way back in the day. This Sithis ended up building kind of a roller coaster here. I always really liked his style of building. I'm still very disappointed that we kind of had like a big misunderstanding and falling out with one another, but I don't know. Anyways, over here we ended up having kind of a secret pinata base. And this, I really liked this. Like, this again was all Sith Pop. He ended up building all this junk, and it was pretty cool. Up there we got like a flying turtle and another airship, which is neat stuff. Merc ended up building this eyesore, which I'm sorry if you're watching, Merc. I love the build. It just feels very like kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like it should have been a little bit further away or something. Like, it kind of just forced itself into this already cluttered hub area. But I still really like Merc's builds. Like, he's probably like my second favorite, second favorite builder next to myself. I don't even know what I was gonna say, so we'll just scrap that and try again. I really like his build style. He thinks like him and I are very, very similar. I think that's why we got along so well. Because he's got a very strong relationship with his brother, and I got a very strong relationship with mine, and I think that's why we got along so well. But on top of it, he has a very realistic approach to his builds, where, you know, we kind of both like simplicity at the same time of adding like these, you know, you can see there's all these complex details going on, but the fact of the matter is that you can still tell what's going on, and that's kind of the big thing going on with all of that stuff. And then you can go inside, and it's like, it's really impressive. It's like our updated pirate town type of thing, and you guys can check all this stuff out if you guys want a little bit more detail on it. We'll head over into the ice area before we head to the volcanic. I think this was Nokia. If I'm not mistaken, this ice area was, I think this was his first build, and what separated him from everybody else, if I'm not mistaken. Some of it ended up getting destroyed when we placed down another biome, but I really liked this because it really felt like an abandoned frozen town, you know? Like, I don't know, there was just something about it. Was that Nokia? I don't know if this one was. No, this was dedicated to Captain Napkin. I don't think Captain Napkin, like, I don't think my brother ended up building this, but there was a lot of dedicated builds to him. And then this, oh god, this was really annoying to build, but me and I think Rage Kill, I think we were the big contributors on this one. It's very, very plain, not an impressive build, but we were rushing this to have it ready for the Christmas hub. So around like the holidays, you know, we had this all set up so that everybody could end up going through it. And I mean, it just got obliterated by the fact that it just, you know, the portals and stuff like that. Like, so much of the game has changed that it just isn't really relevant to end up doing that anymore. Down here, you can actually take a little shortcut into the trophy room, which maybe we'll touch upon that a little bit later in the video, just because it just kind of keeps going. Over here, Merc's got another snowy build that I really like, because Merc's got a very similar twisted sense of humor to me. So a lot of the characters through here are just like it's like this. Oh, I guess I say, Madame, would you care for this dance? And then I'm a dude, and it's just like so stupid, like that I love it, you know, like it just, I don't know, man. And then, you know, a nice lodge, and you can go inside, blah blah blah. You guys can check it out. I gotta remember that we're on a bit of a time limit here, because I don't want this video to be too long, so we're gonna kind of skim over a lot of things rather than going into the finer details. All right, so hopefully that's okay. I think there's a couple other ice builds over there actually that are not bad, but just for the sake of, well, I guess we'll check it out. Sorry guys. Yeah, I keep thinking for the sake of saving time, right? But then I know I'm gonna end up missing a bunch of stuff. So I liked this because they built it out of like white blocks and stuff, and it looks like everything's built out of snow. It's pretty impressive. Like, I don't know, there's all these different styles that really would inspire me back in the day with builds and junk. And then we got these up here, which this is, oh yeah, Amit, right. Yeah, Emmett kind of ended up losing her crap, and she lost her mind, and then we had to like kick her and stuff. Like that's kind of what happened with a lot of like the older officers and stuff. Is eventually they got way too I don't know, bogged down by the idea that we were a family-friendly club. Like, you know, we were kid-friendly, we didn't swear and stuff, which obviously I swear on the channel now, but, you know, I try to keep it down for some of these videos, but whenever I'm doing live streams and stuff like that, I know that eventually one day I'll probably just be swearing in, like, all my videos, because it's like, I don't care, and it's a more organic me. But I know that for me, obviously, you know, being the content creator himself that made the decision to be family friendly, you know, it ended up eventually weighing on me after years and years and years of doing it. But I know that other people that weren't really prepared for the attention that they got, you know, it kind of weighed on them a little bit too much. And I know that there was a lot of, you know, we were very, very strict back in the day, and it just is kind of a shame just to see, like, well, not really a shame, just more so to see the progress of then to now, you know. And unfortunate that there was a lot of side effects of like losing a lot of people that otherwise I'm sure would have stayed very strong friends of mine, you know. I don't know what the heck this build is, so let's just respawn and try to go and go back to the other area. And now we can check out the volcanic zone, just because why not? Where does this cave go? Oh yeah, that goes to like the underground pirate city, which is pretty cool, if I do say so. But over here we got the volcanic stuff. This is lava runners. Oh my god, I remember there was a stream way back in the day that I was doing with my brother, and there was one of the dungeons. It's kind of like one of the big 3-star lava you know, volcanic biome dungeons. And the way that it would generate is if there was you know how sometimes there can be the caves underground in the volcanic. So sometimes it would generate in such a way that you could go underneath the dungeon and all the lava was slowly pouring down. And we had like, it was such a fun mini game where we would try to run to the end while avoiding lava and then run back and just keep doing it lap after lap after lap with everybody to try and get through it before the lava ended up hitting. And it was just, there wasn't really any winning or anything. It was just kind of fun. And we ended up building this mini game kind of around it. Where, yeah, you can only use one jump and you try to avoid the lava while getting through it. And there's some really tricky jumps over at the end there. And we really wanted to flesh it out and turn it into more mini games, but it ultimately, I don't know, we only ended up making the one. I like this wall. I kind of fleshed it out and got it ready for builds, but I didn't really know what style to make the houses, unfortunately. And then this area, oh, I really liked this. I remember this. There was even there was a big dance party that we had here with like a bunch of people. And this build in general, a lot of it ended up getting griefed, so I kind of had to repair a lot of it myself. I think there was other people that had to do it too. Ruker, right? I really liked this build because it was just kind of a necromancer's lair type of thing. And then we had this build, which the person who was making that kind of started making it left, so on and so forth. It just kind of happens with Trove. Over there's another one of our PvP arenas, so we'll deal with that a little bit later. Over here we kind of have, I guess this is like a weird Templar building. I kind of liked the futuristic style of it though. You know, it was just always kind of neat. Yeah. Let me see. Is there any more? Yeah, okay, so I think that all we've really got left, could be wrong, is over here in the Undead biome, and then there's the Neon biome, and then a lot of the other stuff that surrounds the area is PvP arenas, so we can start taking portals after this. But underneath this mountain, we've got Doge City, so that was going to be one of the factions as well, according to our lore, right? This building, you can see, got a little bit griefed, unfortunately. I never found the time to repair it. Whatever. This build, if I'm not mistaken, I kind of liked this, but a lot of it ended up getting griefed as well, just because that's what happens when you have such a big club world and you don't really manage like every single corner of it. This was kind of a Neon City build that I really liked somebody was making. There's all these underground tunnels around here as well. This, oh my god, verbatim, this was Chronozilla again. I don't know how she had the dedication to do something like this. Like, Jesus Christ, good job, girl. Because this is, you know, the Everdark? Yeah, that's what this is. The only thing that I didn't like about her build style is this actually used to be there was like a big PvP arena here. That was pretty cool. But a lot of people get really addicted to the idea of rebuilding their projects rather than just leave the build and then start a new one, which arguably is just a difference of the way that I think compared to other people. But I guess because the content creator in me, like when I'm creating videos, I view them as like, well, at least it's recorded, it's documented type of thing, right? And I'm very similar with the way that I approach the builds in Trove, where rather than demolish something back there just because it looks ugly and rebuild it with something new, I would rather just keep it there as a memory and then just move on to something else. And you can see that a lot of the chaos of the builds over there, and then just the club itself in general, right? But then we get stuff like this, where this is I think this is a fully functioning PvP arena, if I'm not mistaken. But it used to be like this cool, like there was a temple in the middle and there was a forest all around, and it was really neat. I really liked the build. And then unfortunately it got destroyed for the sake of making this, which, I mean, whatever. It's not my build. It's not my decision. But still, like I always liked having more of the stuff around, you know? So anyways, now we can start going to the portal areas and we can start taking some of these portals. So there's the Pinata Park, North Candy Town. This one goes to the statues that we saw. Bowser the Sky Whale. So this, oh my God, this was one of my first huge projects. It took so long to build this. It's like thousands of blue blocks, because I really wanted to make like Monstro the whale from like Pinocchio, and this just ended up kind of becoming this huge project for me, where it just, you know, we got the mouth and it's all kind of fleshed out, and then you can see I got really lazy with the rest of it because it was just so big. These cupcakes were dedicated to like some of the OG crew. We got like a soccer field in there, though very tiny. And then you can go out of Bowser is what I call him. We can go out of his butt and you can jump down into a 1-block space of water, and you're trying to basically land in there without hitting anything. Up here we got the hot dog fortress. So this was kind of my first experience with building something that was in the radiant sky theme. Not really that impressive, but I mean, whatever, it gets the job done. This went through a few iterations. And then we got some game breaker cannons. So game breaker cannons don't really work anymore. Unfortunately, there was a patch at one point where they just stopped working, but you can kind of see this is like the test model, where you basically try to get yourself in line right in the middle here, and then you're trying to touch all 4 blocks in the middle. You can see it just doesn't really work anymore. But this used to be like when the boat hop used to work in combination with the game breaker cannon, it was just like the fastest way that you could travel in Trove, which sometimes it still works. Arguably, it's because we're very laggy here because there's so much video effects and junk around. But generally speaking, the game breaker cannon just doesn't work as much. There used to be like all sorts of weird secrets as well. I think up in the giant hot dog up here, yeah, there's like George Washington. Well, hello there. I'm George Washington, and I created the Hot Dog Alliance. Once I learned of the evil pinatas, will you stay and fight? Like, I made it the lore that George Washington was in charge of the hot dogs, and it's just, I don't know, fun stuff, man. Absolutely loved all of this stuff. Like, it's just, oh man. So let's see what else we got. Bowser the Sky Whale, Cloud City. Oh, this might actually be, yeah, so here's that giant rainbow pyramid and stuff that we were looking at earlier, so you can go over there. And I mean, there's portals to most of the builds around here, guys, so you can always check it out for yourselves. Comments Cove, the dance club, right? There's only one way to get to this, and I called this like the toad in the hole because we got a toad here that's all disgusting. And I don't, a secret dance club, did I Pool of 1,000 Tears, Jesus. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I called this toad in the hole. I might not have, if I'm not mistaken. Welcome to Club Pixel. Okay, maybe I didn't publicly call it that because I grew up in Winnipeg. I have no love for that town. I'm sorry to any of my fans that still live there, but I hated that place. Like growing up, I grew up in like the really bad end, and it's just I can end up having a story of like a draw my life or just talking about my past back in the day. But I mean, basically, like it was not that fun. But anyways, there was a bar there that was called Toad in the Hole. That was, yeah, I don't know, kind of a cool place for me back in the day, where I ended up meeting a lot of old friends that I'm not friends with anybody anymore. But anyways. That's why I ended up having the toad that was underground, and then we go to this dance club that I think Scythus ended up building the majority of it, and then we got this area where there's the evil chickens are kind of just always illuminating every area. Like I was very careful to try and make it so that any of the primary builds of the club ended up having evil chickens around, because I really wanted to push that lore. Hot Dog Alliance Club World, yikes. Actually, I should show you guys this. So in the... where is it? In this old hub, actually, there is, I think it's on the 3rd floor, right? No, 2nd floor? Yeah, 2nd floor. Okay, I can't really get down there easily. But on the 2nd floor, here we've got like portals to all of the lore clubs, as well as Team Pixel 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is kind of where you can check out like all of these things. Just a heads up that some of these people had falling outs with me. And because of it, I don't know if these clubs have been griefed or are like absolutely disgusting or anything. Like in particular, there was the Yeti Hunters, which was built by, I think Fall of Pluto or something. And that kid just lost it. I don't know why, but he ended up like just completely griefing the club and like destroying, like he put down a terraformer like in one of the main areas because he had like some weird emotional problems where it's just, I don't know, just freaked out one day. And then everyone that hates the club world and hates what we represent, which is, you know, a positive community for people to chill and hang out with, all the tryhards were against, like, you know, they're like, yeah, all happy that the club ended up getting destroyed and stuff. And I reached out to the devs, and, you know, I was very distraught about the whole thing because it was years and years of like the history of all of this. And thankfully the devs ended up giving us the special treatment, and they did end up in fact reverting our club world back before it happened. So it was really, really nice. And that around that time was when I started to I guess, I don't know, like I've always been openly critical about things that I don't like. I'm always honest about that stuff, but that doesn't mean that I ever like 100% knocked the devs for what they were doing and their decisions and stuff. Like, they were good people, they really were. It's just some of the stuff they just frankly couldn't deliver on, or were just listening to the wrong people because they were listening to the tryhards rather than the actual dedicated community, what have you. I don't know. Anyways, we don't need to get into any of that. So we'll go through some other portals, but I do want to show you guys some alternate hub areas. So this is something that Merc ended up building for Halloween, because he really got into Hat in Time. I mean, arguably I did too. I absolutely loved that game, but he ended up building this whole hub area based off of one of the levels in Hat in Time, which has this ghost. And it was such a cool build that I made it like the hub area for Halloween and everything. And just this goes to the Christmas area, because the green portals basically go to the other hubs, right? Whereas the blue one goes to the portal area. Anyways, let's move on here. Dance Club, Lunar Dojo. Oh, that's the other hub area. That was the one over there that I was telling you guys was an alternate hub that we never ended up really using. Architect Town, Zombie Fortress. Oh, that's the Necro Fortress over there. What is this? Secret Island. What the? Oh, right, because somebody put this is like way out or something. I forget. I don't think there's anything here. But this was one of the early times when we had this biome right here. I was trying to set this up as like our next hub area at one point, but you can see the generation was just disgusting. So I didn't bother moving anything out over here. We just kind of left it as is, right? So then we've also got, yeah, this is the trophy room. So you guys can go through here if you want. There's thousands and thousands of trophies. So you can just go over there is where I put most of them. But yeah, we got some PvP trophies and stuff in here as well. And it's just, yeah, cool stuff. Kick Circle. All right, back in the day, this is where we would go and we would like kick people from the club, which we don't, obviously we don't do that anymore, but cool stuff, you know, fun stuff. Then we have over here, these are portals dedicated to, yeah, there's the Dragon Kigurumi HQ. So this is the floating airship island that I showed you guys earlier. There's the Doge Mercenary HQ, which I mentioned it was over here underneath this Undead biome, so you can check that out. That ended up getting griefed as well, so I kind of had to do a band-aid job all over it. This goes to the Pinata HQ, which is just down there. And then there is the Chicken Island. So right over here We had this chicken island, and then up here was kind of like my area for testing. Like whenever we get new frameworks, you know, I'll place those down here just so we can see them and get a preview of them and junk like that. I wish we would get more frameworks in the game, not to mention like video effects of, you know, some of these were around like during seasonal or certain packs and junk like that. There's also, maybe we won't end up fully exploring it. I guess we'll end up checking out there later, because I ended up turning that into a gardening island. That's right. But now we can end up checking out some of the PvP stuff. So this is the Kigurumi versus Pinatas. This was the first PvP project that myself and a bunch of others ended up building, and it turned out great. Like, everybody was super duper pumped about PvP being added to the game. We ended up going through and just so many iterations to kind of balance out the map and everything, and I love this map. Like, even today I still find it to be really, really fun and kind of competitive, where it's got like all these very thematic areas. So over here we got the Pinata area with multiple choke points, you know, because you only have 2 jump in PvP, or at least you used to, I think. So it's really difficult to kind of push up this hill where you're fighting other people. But there can be like some other alternative pathways. Like if you have Lunar Lancer, you can grapple up here, and everything is possible with just 2 jump. But, you know, because it was a CTF capture the flag, which arguably isn't in the hub anymore. Neither is Deathmatch, honestly, because everything moved to Bomber Royale. God, if we had custom Bomber Royale maps, that would be so dope. But nope. But anyways, these would be the capture points and spawn points. There's multiple pathways where you could end up going through here. You could go through, there's like a big mine area and a basement. So it was really, really good for like snipers and long range characters underground. It'd be really risky if you wanted to go into those areas, and, you know, so on and so forth. You guys can check it out again if you want, but there's just so much history around all this stuff, and I just love it. This was like the last build where normally this went into the mine area, but I felt that it was very like not I just noticed through playtesting that not many people came into this corner, so I just kind of made this like just an area for coolness. There's not really anything to it. This is actually the bottom of the map, so if you're in the PvP arena, this will actually just fall out of the map, so be careful. But then you can go into this hut area, and, you know, we tried to make everything possible with like ramps, and you know, it's all color coded so that you know very specifically where to go, and you can ultimately climb through this house area. Tried to make it so that the camera wasn't too claustrophobic while you're going through it all, but you could get an item here and launch yourself over there. There's actually a secret area in the mines underground where you can get into one of these houses. I forget which one. And then this is the red team spawn. So they've got like a couple floors where you can only get to them from the outside. Then we got another little choke point here, and all of the trees as well, you know, are set up in such a way where you can usually double jump and roll to the next tree midair. And then over there is another area where, you know, we tried to, the thing that I liked about PvP was I really liked building these competitive maps for Trove, because I liked fine-tuning them and, you know, making it so that if I didn't find people went over here very much, I rewarded the people that did. So it's like, it's a longer path, obviously, but, you know, you're rewarded with an item as well as a little jet jump that you can use to get over to, you know, the other base a little bit faster. So it kind of all evened out, and I tried very specifically to make it so that the travel time was even between most of the locations, but obviously that was a really early first attempt, right? So this goes to that Shadow Coliseum that I mentioned. This goes to the giant kitchen. Oh man, I was so proud of this map, and I was so I knew, like, I just knew while I was building this map that if the devs ever saw it, I knew it was going to end up getting into the game officially as like a PvP map. But that's the thing, is I designed this as a PvP map, and they ended up making this a flight challenge map, which they had me change a couple things that I really didn't like. So they specifically wanted me to make it so that all classes could get to all areas. But I designed this in such a way where certain characters would have certain benefits. So Lunar Lancer obviously could grapple his way up onto the fan. And then if you were Draco, you could go through the orange juice spilled down at the bottom, and it would give you more movement speed. And just like all these things that just kind of culminated together into this one area. And This map was heavily inspired by games that I grew up with as a kid, more specifically the Army Man Sarge games, because there was like all these old maps in video games back in the day on the N64 that I grew up with, where it was like a giant washroom or like a giant standing desk and stuff like that, and it was like you were basically these little toy soldiers having an all-out war in this normal person's housing area, and it's just, you know, it stuck with me. So I always wanted to make a map like this. But you can see the thousands upon thousands of blocks. It was just, oh god, it was such a project. Like even the flooring and everything like that is, oh man. So while I did the bulk of the design and the builds and stuff like that, I did end up having help from a couple people here, Kiera Descent, Fatal Legacy. They ended up helping with the floors and everything like that. So it was really, really nice that they ended up, you know, helping me just place all this down, because otherwise I did the majority of it myself, honestly speaking. And it's just, you know, I didn't end up putting a fridge door. I decided against that because it didn't make much sense for a map, and it just, you know, I tried to fill things out, and there's all these finer details. You know, we got nails over here, cut up sushi, which, I mean, I just love sushi in general. Over here we got an oven, and again, the gust blocks used to kind of look like smoke rising, so it was like bacon being cooked. So when they changed the VFX to these, which obviously is less resource intensive, it was like, not as cool. There was so many iterations of this map though. Like I remember this used to be open and I had to like seal it up because people would get through it and junk like that. There's all these other pathways where it, you know, on the blue side you can get onto the top of this, and if you're Lunar Lancer you can very easily get up here. But you know, a lot of these jump pads didn't used to exist because the devs kind of forced me to do it, and then they just butchered the entire map by making it spawn up at the top and glide through rings, and it was so disheartening, you know. But we still all played it PvP. I really like, I think that maybe I should do, like when I'm doing streams and stuff, I wish that I could get enough people to still play PvP, because unfortunately the PvP in this game is kind of a joke, where whether if you're on the European server and the North American server, you can still join each other in Trove, but it'll throw you into different lobbies when you're getting ready for PvP, and that was pretty annoying. So anyways, that's a giant kitchen. Then we got War of the Ages. Oh yeah, this is that jank one that I showed you guys earlier where it's all like destroyed and everything like that. Then we got Hot Dog City. This one was Val. And I kind of went through, and like he's very, very good at just building and stuff, and modern style is like his big thing. So I kind of helped him out with like the flow of the map, because he just had the build, and then I like really, I don't know, like I'm all about like the flow of things, you know, like it's got to have a good energy, it's got to have like a nice interesting playability. So, you know, launch ramps and stuff and cover spots on the sides, and you know, we have alternate branching pathways where you can climb up that construction site onto that and jump over to the blue base. Red base is over here. And very specifically, like one of the big things that I always tried to push whenever anyone would design a PvP map is to use like orange and brown and darker reddish toned colors for the red team, and then when you get to the blue side, using all the white and light blue tones and colors and stuff like that for the blocks, so that the player distinctly always knows what side of the map that they're on. And it helped me anyways. I don't know if it helped anybody else. But then down here we got a nice subway system, and it follows kind of the same thing. And it's just very cool stuff, dude. Like I really like this map that Val made. I wish it got a little bit more attention. You know, we got like a sewer area and you jump up there, and it's just, there's so much cool stuff, dude. Like I love this stuff. So anyways, let's see what else. Hot Dog City. Then we got Frogs versus Pirates. Merc ended up making this map. Unfortunately, he made it around the time that people just didn't PvP as much anymore, despite the fact that I actually find it to be a really good map, albeit a little too complex, just because like climbing around here can be a bit of a chore, just because of the way that these blocks work, and trying to do that with 2 jump, like good luck. But you can climb through everything, and it, you know, it's really cool that you can go from one ship to the other, but you know, it's not 100% fleshed out. Like if you're in the water, you're pretty much just stuck there. I still really like it. Like it's a great build, even if it didn't 100% work as a competitive map, you know what I mean? But I think that was one of his first maps, actually. I'm not exactly sure. And then, oh, CSGO. So I made the office map from CS:GO, and this was such a fun project for me. A lot of it I just designed from memory. Not that I played like Counter-Strike Go like ever. I played Counter-Strike like Counter-Strike Source way back in the day. I was never very good at it or anything like that, but you know, I really liked the map. Like as a competitive map, I just found it to be so fun, and it kind of, you know, changed a couple iterations so that we had like more branching pathways, and it just worked better for Trove, where you can go through there, or you can go through here and go around, or if you climb over here, like multiple different branching pathways was always like the big thing. And then we kind of had to seal the map in with glass. I remember this was one of the first ones. So this is, you know, the outdoor courtyard. Up here, you know, we've got like offices and everything like that, long hall, all the way up to the hostage area and everything. So it is office. It's just, you kind of got to use your imagination when you're playing Trove. But I remember I got a lot of experience with perspective and you know, setting up locations and stuff, because otherwise I had to touch stuff up like a lot. And this was a really good experience for me. And I you know, I just noticed that I got like a lot better at designing maps and stuff like that through my experiences with specific maps. This one was a pretty quick project, honestly speaking. We just made a map from Mario Kart, and it's a race map, but I don't know, the race maps, just the racing doesn't really work that well, but generally speaking, you know, it's cool. It was a very quick project. I think me and Mark just threw this one together very quickly. And then he was working on this PvP area, which is like a Pikmin coin collection. This is when coin collection and racing started coming into the game. This one, I don't think I have a portal to, and it's incomplete, but we'll look at that in a moment, because I don't exactly know where we're at. Mario Kart, Battle of the Two Armies. That's one of those jank maps I already showed you guys. Hanamura we'll touch on in a bit. I guess we can just go to it right now. This is my most, I am 100% so proud of this map. This is my favorite map. I'm not just saying that because I made it. This is my favorite PvP map. It turned out so good. So I obviously, when Overwatch came out, I absolutely loved it. Played the game to death. Don't play it anymore. It got too complicated and weird. Hanamura was my all-time favorite map. So you can see like this is the pagoda that you push to. You know, as the blue team, red team, I don't know if there's a difference, but I just love the flow of everything. You know, you can jump up to most areas as most classes, and again, I always tried to push certain characters having certain advantages over others, so Lunar Lancer can get around while Pirate Captain can be OP and stuff. Unfortunately, PvP is just an absolute joke where certain characters are just too overpowered, but it's like, it was such a fun map to make just because of all the way that everything scaled properly. And this is where I had like, I have videos of me making this map, because I had like such a much better understanding of scaling. So I would kind of draw out the base lines of where I was going with the map and then slowly build up vertically. And that's one of the big things that I like about my maps over most PvP maps, if I do say so, is verticality. So even with something like this, you know, this is normally a drop off, but you can climb up the tree, climb up here, and then you can go over into the streets area. Or if you're coming from this side, you can actually just climb onto this roof, you can climb up to here, so on and so forth. And there's like all of this verticality, you know, it's like do whatever you want kind of thing. And we'd often have like, you know, somebody would be up here like trying to snipe everybody else, and then you'd get into a battle with somebody who was over on this roof shooting back at you, and it just, ah man, such good times on this map. Like I really am happy with how it ended up turning out, but it's a shame that PvP isn't really pushed in this game anymore, because it was like so fun on all these custom maps. So then we've got, yeah, some minigame maps. Okay, so I guess we'll have to just take these portals. So this one right here, this one Merc made. Apparently this is based off of like 1,000-Year Door. It's like Duplis's Fortress or something, because Merc's old username actually was Duplis, because he really liked Paper Mario. But anyways, this is a coin collection challenge, so you know, it's pretty fleshed out. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of hidden secrets and junk. Like that was the biggest thing that I liked about the coin collection challenges, is it was really nice to set up like all of these secrets and junk, you know. And then over here we've got, I don't fully remember. I don't think we can get into these, unfortunately, but this was my like 2D Mario map. And then Merc ended up also building this Donkey Kong map in between it. So what we actually started doing is you might have noticed, but all of these 4 maps, these are all coin collection challenges, and all of them are actually in the same chunk for PvP. Or for the minigame challenge. So basically what that means is if you load into a coin collection challenge here, you can spawn in any of these 4 or 5 different minigame maps. And if you want a specific one, you can just keep respawning over and over until you get it. But over here, this one Merc made, and it's like, it's so like, even he said like it's so basic, and yet this map like got into the actual coin rotation for dragon challenges. And it's so like stupid and funny at the same time. Like it's a lot of his maps got into the rotation though. It was really, really cool to see. I really liked these two just because it's a very small, concise map. Like this is Donkey Kong, this is Mario, if I didn't already say. I think this one of Merc's got in, maybe not. This one got in. I knew 100% that this would get in. I was really, really happy with this because I forget if I had a dream of this or if I always wanted to have like, it's 2 canyons, right? And the whole idea is it's kind of like there's a toy train in the middle, the sun is artificial, the clouds are all hanging and stuff. It's kind of like if you took like a actual like 3D model of something and then you threw it all together. But there's so many different pathways you can go through here. You can go through this giant worm, and then you can go out its butt down there. There's a giant apple that is somewhere in the map and stuff, and there's just so many like little cool touches. I'm really, really happy with that one. It turned out to just be a coin collection challenge, which originally I intended it to be PvP, but that just didn't really work out, so there you go. Merc made this one over here, which is very, very impressive build. Like he was just a building monster. He really got into the mood and kind of burnt himself out from building as well. But this one's very, very overcomplicated map. But he tried to make it so that there was enough coins in any area. So if you specifically just stayed in one area, you could still end up getting the max amount of coins for the challenge. I forget whether or not this one ended up getting in. I don't think that it did. I'm not sure. We'll go over to that's a Mario Sunshine hub area. We'll go over to that in a bit just because it's incomplete. But there's this one over here. This one got in. This is where you can see, like, rather than take up the entire biome, he kind of squeezed it in with all these walls. I think I helped him a little bit with this one, but for the most part, I mean, he just did all this himself, and I really like this map. Just because it's all, we got a pagoda and it's all like a big old shrine area with floating islands and stuff and just flowing water, and it's very lively. I really, really enjoy it. This one I think got into the game as well, which is a very impressive ice map. So it's all ice themed. There's some slidey areas and junk. It's really, really cool though. And then I think this one got in as well, if I'm not mistaken. Like, tons of his maps got in, dude, but this is kind of a more updated version of that other Volcanic one, and I really like this one because I feel like it belongs in a Mario game, like it's really, really neat. This one you can go inside, but it's kind of a mess. This, believe it or not, they actually added target practice in Trove. So there was this target mini game that never really saw the light of day. It never got fleshed out because of the fact that projectiles are so broken in Trove, and they just never ended up fixing the projectiles. So this never became a thing. But we kind of set up like you can set up these moving targets and stuff. And it's a really cool concept if only Trove would end up actually doing it properly. But Merc ended up setting up like kind of this haunted castle in a dream sequence thing, and it's a really cool build. Too bad it never got fleshed out into anything. If I'm not mistaken, up over there is actually our new hub area, which, oh god, come to think of it, we really got to start moving here, because otherwise, like, we're oh god. Well, anyways, let me go check out this area PvP thing and see if there was anything else. I want to be clear, even though these are like mini games and stuff, I just keep saying PvP, so just take me saying it PvP for granted. It basically means a competitive map that we built. So this one, oh man, I wish I had the inspiration to finish this, because I'm really happy with how all the placement of everything worked out. But it's basically Delfino Plaza, right? To the best of my ability. Obviously some stuff just doesn't really fit for the scale, but again, you can see my trademark. These buildings are red themed, these are blue because it's the two sides of the opposing map and junk like that. And I don't know. I had it all set up. I just didn't build these buildings. I was also going to make it very vertical. So over here is kind of a lighthouse, and I wanted to make like I wanted to make a lot of kind of ropes. Let's just say they're like, I don't know, like electrical wiring, and I would kind of have like a top half of the map where you would be very exposed, but you would be able to basically get around the map that way if you wanted to. And I just really liked that idea, even though I never ended up completing the project, unfortunately. So, I don't know, take it with a grain of salt, right? There's also, I noticed that there was another portal that said it went to more mini games, right? Like there's the, yeah, there's the Nintendo mini games, and then there's mini games map. Oh, okay, so these are those other ones that I just showed you guys. Okay. I think that's it for the main big like super builds. So now we can just end up checking out the newer hub and checking out this area, because I'm really happy with how this all turned out. But give me a second. Well, I'll make a cut in the video, but I gotta take a quick break, man, because I've been going at this for like a solid hour. All right, guys. So I just took a quick snack. So, anyways, let's check it out. So you might notice, you might not, in the Forbidden Spires, there's actually a dungeon that looks just like this. And that ended up being 100% the inspiration for this area. You can see like we have it very similarly, except we don't have a house in the middle of it. It's just kind of the walls all around, and then the giant pagoda and stuff. And it was just, when the Forbidden Spires came out, it was my all-time favorite biome of the game. And Merc and I were both like just so inspired by that one dungeon that they ended up creating that we just were like, this has to be the new hub. So there was a lot of iterations for this area, but ultimately you guys can go through it, check out every single individual detail. It's not like each of the houses is fully fleshed out or anything, but you know, it all has a very nice flow to it. There's also the giant tree in the middle, because we finally ended up, it's been a while now, but we have, I think it was with the gardening update, like maybe it wasn't. No, I think it takes like a lot of crystal, but there's Sakura leaves that you can have for video effects coming down. And I mean, all these video effects blocks are extremely expensive. We even have like a hot tub area here, which, I mean, I like it. I like how it all turned out. Now, before we move on to all these other areas, I did mention there was the gardening area. So this is by Chicken Island, and we got like a couple houses and stuff. I went through this and meticulously like just cleaned it up, put down all these like proper trees and stuff. You know, you can see it was just a plain old Jurassic biome, and I just kind of cleaned it all up. And then myself and the other officers were setting up areas for ourselves for gardening. Ultimately, I was the only one that made like a proper build for it. This went through a lot of iterations, but I really like the way that it turned out. Same with the giant Sakura tree in the back, because I really wanted this, like this type of view right here, you know? So it just, I don't know, it made going through the gardening stuff like just a little bit more tantalizing, I guess. I don't know. And then ultimately I ended up just stealing this whole field for like hundreds of thousands of plants and junk. There's a whole bunch of like secrets up in that swamp area, including like some references to like, I think there's like a Shrek's house in there, and it's pretty funny. But anyways, we got Luxie in here just chilling at all times, selling us garbage. And then over here, I think this is just an exit to this. A lot of this stuff is just frameworks. Obviously, the main area there is very constructed and very deliberate. But you can see like over here, we have the shadow frameworks. We have another one of these frameworks, although it was never actually used. And then over here, we have the other framework that we just wanted to use as well. We went through a lot of this, kind of fine tuning a lot of the cliffs and junk like that, and trees and everything, just, you know, making it look nice. This went through a couple iterations. This is a framework, but we tweaked it a lot. Ultimately, it's where we originally had all of the portals before we had the Trove and Atlas. And then over here, I like this area. I think Merc built this, if I'm not mistaken, but this is like kind of our, excuse me, this is kind of our dance club area. Sorry about that. Had some food going in the wrong tube. But I really liked this. I always wanted to do this with the crossing, like wiring and lighting and stuff. I mean, it's a bit much, but it does look cool. There's lots of funny jokes in there and stuff. This, I think, is like the basic hut or something. Ye old Trove house. Ah, yes, because this is like literally what the old Trove hub house used to look like, or something like that. I don't fully remember. This is where we set up to throw down pinatas, even though we never really utilize it. And then over here, Merc ended up kind of making a trading port, so it's kind of, I don't know, piratey themed, I guess, but I really like the way that this turned out. I really like the build. And then we've got like kind of these different elemental temples, which I guess we'll talk about those now because we can go to the fixtures later. But I wanted to kind of make like a theme of different elemental temples. This one I had a lot of help with, but was primarily me. And I mean, I just like the water temple. Down here, actually at the base of the water temple, this is one of my favorite areas. Like, I love the lighting, and I just love how tranquil and relaxing it is. But ultimately, it doesn't serve a purpose. It was kind of like, I don't know if there was even necessarily lore to it, but we put like the elemental gems up in them. So it was kind of like the gem itself was what created the temple sort of thing. Merc ended up fitting this volcanic area in here. And I really like how this turned out just because you can go underneath and there's tunnels and stuff. And ultimately, even if you only have one jump, you can get all the way up to the top of the temple. Not that there's like a reward for it or anything like that. This is also a really nice area right up here where you get to kind of see over the landscape and junk. I don't think we ever ended up making... We were going to make an air-themed one that was going to kind of be like a chunk of the ground lifted up into a floating island or something. And then Merc ended up making all these custom trees, yikes, to make this swamp area. And I think we were going to make this the earth theme color because originally there was going to be earth gems in the game that were green. And, well, then we ultimately had cosmic gems added instead. Right? So down here, yeah, we've got a nice little witch's hut area type thing. Looks pretty cool and pretty impressive. And then up here, oh, I really like this build. Merc and I kind of built this together. I mean, for the most part, he did it, and then I came in and helped him a little bit. But we got like a mining area. You got to have enough jump to pretend you're climbing up the ladder. But I like this because it's kind of, you know, we were really inspired by the way that the biome generated, that we wanted to create all these nice scenic views where you can kind of overlook the whole club. And, you know, more mines and junk. And then this, I love this little garden here. And this was one of my favorite areas. When we first came up here and we were overlooking like the whole kingdom, this is when it really hit, where it's like, yeah, we have to make our hub like down there, right? Unfortunately, with the draw distance, we can't see it all, but there's this here. You can go into this training hut. There's a basement where you can do stuff. There's a bunch of lore, random junk, and just cool little things that you can go out and explore and everything like that, right? So you guys are welcome to check it all out if you want, just because now you know that it's there. I don't think there was too much else, honestly speaking. I know that over there used to be a bunch of mag rail trails that we had to delete just because it was really ugly. I don't know. But anyways, over here is where we have all of our fixtures. And one day it dawned on me, why don't we just make, like, draw over the fixtures, basically? Because the fixtures just look so basic and kind of stupid that we wanted to make them a little bit more impressive, right? So we've got, like, our shop area, and it's tuned up a little bit. I don't even remember what it looks like at its base core. And then this is, you know, where we have, like, all the NPCs, which apparently nobody spawned these. That's okay. And then the sword from Mario RPG, one of my all-time favorite games. We got our vault right here, which I do still technically have to destroy it and then plant it back down so that random people can donate clubits to our club that aren't members of the club. But it's like, is anyone really going to do that? I don't know. And then, you know, some of these other fixtures just look kind of stupid. Also, just because people keep asking, like, why don't you guys fully max out the fixtures? Because right now we have it just at enough daily clubit generation. Like, we get daily clubits just because of the way that it's all set up, and the daily clubits will actually generate enough that we can pay the rent on all of these, because otherwise people don't really grind adventurine anymore. So that's why we haven't really upgraded any of them. And then there's this nice bridge which took me a long time to build. I really like it though. And then, you know, there's all this stuff. We ended up making these fixtures look really stupid. Merc ended up putting this kind of training area, which I really like this too. There's a lot of fun jokes in there that you can end up checking out. And I think that might be it, ladies and gentlemen. I might be missing some stuff, But for the most part, I think we got everything covered, and I'm honestly surprised that we were able to do this in, well, under 2 hours. I mean, generally speaking, these videos do usually take an hour, but I think we got to save a lot of time just for the fact that we kind of skipped the finer details of everything. But ultimately, yeah, that's Team Pixel. That's my club world. This is kind of my life, just because my life's work. You know, I'm not saying that, like, I'm not trying to take credit for everything, because obviously we've had a lot of phenomenal builders come and go over the years, but generally speaking, the majority of it is just me and then a few select others who have stuck around for the years and years of playing Trove. You know, like even Merc doesn't really play Trove anymore, even though he contributed a lot to the builds. And it's kind of like, I'm very satisfied with how the club is right now, and unless I get inspired, like, I don't have any desire to build anything more, really. Like, I'm pretty satisfied with how we've got everything set up, like especially this hub area. Like, I think it's just beautiful, honestly, and all the nice finer details. You know, you can even go through here and go into the secret sewer and junk like that, but there's just so many like little areas to explore, and that's something that I've always enjoyed in video games. And I am really happy with what just happened. I don't even know what just happened. I was literally just standing there and somehow completed a daily reward. Like, okay, unless, oh no, I was gonna say the daily reset happened, but no, it didn't. I don't know what just happened. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys and gals have enjoyed not only just the Club World Tour, but I hope that those of you that have been around for a long enough time have been enjoying the series up to this point. I've seen a lot of you guys been approaching me more lately, talking about how, you know, the videos have helped you through like dark times and stuff like that, and that is exactly why I'm still doing YouTube. You know, I was doing it long before just because I really enjoy doing it, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy doing what I'm doing, but the whole point of these videos is to hopefully just lighten up your day, even if just a little bit, because yeah, the world is kind of a crazy place, especially more recently. But anyways, who cares about any of that stuff? Let's just play some video games. Thanks for watching though. Smash like, sub for more, buy some of the merch if you want to support the channel. I would appreciate it. Otherwise, you can again use that sign up link that's down in the description. Otherwise, have yourselves a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen. Love you to death. Sign on and stay epic as always.